Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Midwest Whitetail. It feels good to say that again, and on this week's show, we've got a quick one, but an action-packed one. We're going to Eastern Iowa over there to join Gavin Koterba, who, just to give you a little bit of background, he was an intern in the 2020 class. He is now an employee and resident of Iowa, and this week's show is all about his hunting journey. You know, he's from Ohio, like I mentioned, but there's one consistent between his home state and Iowa, and that's that Gavin's gotten on big deer on public land. So we're gonna join him now. He's gonna dive into some of his awesome encounters that he's had, what his goals are for 23, and I hope that this is finally the season that he's able to tag a mature buck. He's putting himself in a good position. He's putting the work in. Let's go check out what he's up to right now.
Hey guys, today is May 11th. Dragos and I are out on a piece of public land that I've hunted a little bit. And today we're just out doing a little bit of spring scouting, pulling a couple Trax cameras and trying to find a couple new stand locations for the upcoming fall. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Gavin Koterba. I'm a new employee with Midwest Whitetail, starting at the beginning of last year in 2022. Right now I'm working on the Chasing November series. It's gonna be coming out in August. Super excited to bring that to you guys. It's been a blast to work on so far. So be looking forward to that coming up here soon. I also do the main show later on in the fall as well. So super grateful to have this job. It's been nothing but a blast so far. Working with a bunch of great guys, getting to learn a lot of cool things about hunting and about producing. And like I said, just super grateful to have this opportunity. Just wanted to give you guys a quick little backstory on how I got up to this point. I'm originally from Ohio, came out here in 2021 during the internship, and like I said, got hired on from there. Grew up not doing a ton of hunting, just once or twice a year during Ohio's gun season. And then on my 18th birthday, I got my first bow ever. It was a Hoyt Power Max. Absolutely love that bow still to this day. And from there on, bow hunting became my biggest passion I've ever had in my life. It's nothing short of an obsession, I tell everybody. And after that, I got quickly hooked on Midwest Whitetail, came to it every Monday for the educational side and the storylines that the guys brought to us. And that only fueled my passion for hunting, just seeing all the different ways that guys got to experience hunting and what it meant to them. It's a super cool thing, and obviously it's come full circle now, and I'm super grateful for that. I shot my first buck, my first deer, with my bow in 2017. It was a cool basket rack, 8-point, 9-point, that had his main beams actually touch together, and we called him Tipsy for that reason. It was kind of a funny story, but he really fueled the fire. I mean, getting that deer down for me as a first deer type of thing, I mean, that does nothing but pump a guy up. And that brought me into college, where I was fortunate enough to have some public land nearby that I gravitated towards more and more. Hunted out there for 1 year, didn't see a ton, hunted a lot of the same areas, things like that. And then the following year, I decided I was gonna do a lot more scouting, put a lot more time in, put some more boots on the ground, really find where these deer like to move through, find areas of travel, find rut sign, things like that. And scouted all off season, starting in February up to the summer months. And then that following year, bringing us to 2019, I ended up killing a deer on November 1st. Through a lot of bouncing around and trying different strategies, trying different spots, hunting on the ground, in a tree, things like that. That's what I think ultimately got me to that point, to being able to harvest my first deer on public land. That scouting, like I said, and also just bouncing around, trying out different tactics that you normally might not choose to on a piece of private land, things like that. The summer of my intern year, in between just doing editing and filming and other projects, Ethan, Matt, and myself, two of the other interns, got out on a piece of public land and just did a little bit of scouting. We found that this spot ended up having a lot of good deer sign, a lot of good travel routes, and some good stand locations that we ended up marking. Found quite a few of those, just giving ourselves different options for hopefully being able to hunt a few times during that fall. And sure enough, I got my residency out here that year. And Ethan and I believe on November 7th it was, him and I got out, went to one of these spots. It was a really good funnel, just in between two large bedding areas, and bucks would just cruise right through there. Had a trail camera set up in that area and had actually a couple really good bucks out there. And sure enough, that morning, We got set up in no more than 30 minutes after first light, I think it was. A really nice buck that we've been getting on camera, steps out, comes into 25 yards. Shoot it.
Probably not gonna stick out too much longer with, as Ethan said, having that buck blow quite a bit, so hopefully we can be back in here soon before November's over. This is an awesome spot for cruising.
We were set up kind of poorly, unfortunately, but just coming out of that hunt, we took away the fact that all that scouting that went in over the summer, just doing it here and there when we could, but even just a little bit went such a long way. We were able to get in position and ultimately would have had a crack at that buck had we just gotten a couple other details right. And that's why we're out here today. You know, we're just continuing to put the pieces of the puzzle together. I've been able to get close quite a few times now just by putting in that extra work. So we're hoping that by starting now this off season, we're gonna be able to find some of those factors that are gonna hopefully put us in position. You can see behind me, there's this water here, and that wasn't here last year. So taking note of those things, finding new stand locations, hopefully will ultimately put me in position to get a mature buck this year. Well, we've made it up a little ways here, and you can see back behind me all this water. Like I said, last year it was not in here. It was all dry through this area. The deer were using it quite a bit. Unfortunately, I didn't bring my swim trunk, so we're not gonna go to the stand, but the actual spot where I encountered that big deer last year was just down the way, about 100, 120 yards or so. Thought I'd talk about that really quick. I came in here, I think September it was last year, and set up a mock scrape. Caleb and I did that segment last year on using mock scrapes on public, bringing your own vine and setting up a scrape, and how powerful that can be to get trail camera inventory of the deer in the area. As you can see, that's just a big maple thicket. There's a lot of smaller diameter trees, and so it makes getting in a tree really hard, but it's still pretty open on the forest floor, so it's not like you can really have a good ground setup either. So it's definitely a trickier spot that way. Quickly, I got pictures of a bunch of good deer on there. The deer seem to be hitting it pretty hard. And in early October, I got that big deer that showed up. He became more and more frequent as October rolled on. And then on October 25th, Ben and I came in, hunted this spot. It was rainy, kind of windy, but no sooner did we get set up than he came right out and was at 20 yards for about 20 minutes or so.
All right, guys, it is October 25th today. Ben and I are back out on this public. Made the long walk in here. It's about a mile and a quarter. And we're set up kind of in this maple thicket here. Just trying to learn the ropes kind of with you guys. And I'm a relatively new hunter myself. I started bow hunting when I was 18. Like I said, though, we're in this willow thicket. I actually have a mock scrape down below me that I set up back in the summer here. And I've got a cell camera on it that I've been getting pictures of 4 shooters so far, and more just seem to keep popping up. One that's a really, really big deer, to say the least. So we'll sit tight tonight. Hopefully we can get it done. tell you guys. I don't have much to say after that. That's the biggest deer I've ever encountered. Hunting for myself, by far. We started working towards a slough here, and I knew that we weren't gonna have a shot at him. I got all these branches off this birch tree behind us, so I couldn't get a shot. I drew my bow, thinking I might be able to, but shook, to say the least. That's about all I got. We're gonna be hunting this deer. After an encounter like that, I mean, he was at bow range the entire time.
So as you guys saw, that was quite a heartbreaker of a hunt. Still think about it to this day. I mean, a deer of that caliber on public land, you don't get that in a lot of lifetimes. So I feel very lucky to even see a deer that big. I haven't gotten a picture of him since November 24th, I think. He was off in the background of the camera with a doe, and nothing since then. So not sure if he's alive or dead. Hoping that he shows back up, does the same kind of thing he did last year and moves back in here. Assuming that this water gets out of here. But one of the bigger takeaways, I think, from that hunt is the fact that it was such an overlooked spot. There's lots of open river bottom around here. It's much more of a draw to somebody that's wanting to set up a stand. And like I said, that spot that I found, there was only really one tree in there that was good enough to put a stand in, to put a set in. And coming from hunting public land in Ohio, you know, you have to work with the deer hunter density that's there. It's much higher than it is here in Iowa. And so you have to find some of those areas that are harder to access or that are overlooked. Maybe they're right by the parking lot, but somebody walks right by them because it's just a thick, nasty area. We're gonna keep moving. I got a couple cameras up here. We're gonna go pull and hopefully find a couple more stand locations for this fall. Well guys, the clouds are kind of rolling in. It looks like it might rain, so we're just gonna get things wrapped up. But really appreciate you guys following along with this segment. I'm super excited for this upcoming season. I think this is gonna be the year that finally all comes together. We've been putting in a ton of work and hoping that it pays off. So really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next one.